Hello, everybody. Hello. Here we go. Final week of 28-day fasting kickstart. I'm really excited for this. Just been getting into the mood with a little bit of music just before, but I can't do that due to copyrights on YouTube right now. But while I ramble on, if you can let me know that I am being heard out there, and we'll get started pretty much straight away. Audio is good. Thanks, Kat. All right. Hi, Carol, all the way from Boston. Amazing. Love it. Thanks, guys. We're going to get straight into it today. Here we go. Here I am. Hello. Perfect. I actually have the door open today because it's been so warm here in Perth for the last few days, but now it's raining and it's amazing. It's just this lovely, fresh, cool breeze coming through the door, and I wanted to keep it open. So hopefully it doesn't get too loud out there. If it does, let me know. I can shut the door. Thanks for being here. How's the last 21 days been so far for you? I know we've had some amazing realizations in Facebook. I think, Kat, you were one of them, and a few other people. And it excites me that, there's some of the new insights that people are getting, because that's where the true magic lies. And yeah, I'm really excited for this. I think this week's going to be great. I know a lot of you are still doing the juice fast, which I totally respect and I commend you for. And keep going, and go as long as you feel comfortable going. If it's 5 days, if it's 6 days, 7 days, 10 days, whatever you are feeling, then keep going, because your body will know when to stop. And then you can simply take today's learnings and apply that after you juice fast. So if you're here right now and you're still fasting, then perfect, because you're going to know what to do as you transition through to that next part of your life, where you can now actually make it more of a lifestyle rather than a cleanse or a detox or any of those things, because that's the whole idea. And I think that's the biggest things that most people are learning, is that it's been quite a detox on not just a physical level, but also mentally and emotionally, and realizing that food is actually a gift that we can enjoy and that we can love and appreciate, and rather than just to feed our emotions, and which are usually negative emotions. So thank you for everyone who's here. Amazing to have you here still. And reality is probably, I'm going to give it an extra week, but I'm going to say around about 10% of people who started will actually finish and complete this lesson. So if you are watching right now, you're one of the few people who are very committed to yourself and to your health. And I commend you for that, because it's a tough task, especially if you're doing this at the start of the year, when a lot of people are still in the partying mood and that type of stuff. There can be a lot of distractions out there. So I commend you for taking the time to invest in yourself and invest in your own health, because there's nothing more important. I truly believe that. And because, you see a lot of people out there who neglect their health to make a lot of money or to do other things. But it always catches up to them in the end. And there's not one person that I know of who's on their deathbed who wishes that they weren't healthier throughout their life. So today we're going to talk about integrating our learnings. And I think this is the part where, now that you've had a lot of insights, a lot of changes, possibly core value changes, that you can begin to take this into a lifestyle. And, I know for me, as I think back to some of the times in my life where I've taken the time to integrate, some things that I've learned, that's when it's been sustainable. The times where I've neglected that and haven't actually taken the time to reflect back on what I've learned, how I can use it going forward and how I can continue to grow, they're the times that I haven't been able to continue that with my life. And I've spent a lot of money on programs and done certain things where I got really good at it for a short amount of time, but because I didn't integrate it into my life, then it just basically went by the wayside. And I basically, wasted X amount of time because I didn't take that time to actually integrate my learnings. Not only that, if you're doing something like getting healthy, if you don't integrate what you're learning, then as possible, you'll go back to your old patterns, your old habits, your old beliefs, and the old way that you used to live, and then you just end up back where you were before. And that's the reason why people say that juice fasts don't work, because they go back to eating shit afterwards. So of course they're not going to work. So as long as you continue to do the right things, and you can even stick to that whole 80-20 rule. So if you do 80% of the time you do the right thing, 20% of the time you don't, then you don't need to stress about it anymore, because you're already on this path of getting healthy. Especially after you've lived this type of lifestyle for, say, a year. If you do have those off days every now and then, it's not a big deal, because it's not something that you're doing to feed your emotions. Maybe it is a little bit, but you know that for the most part, you're actually doing the right thing. And it's like if you're going to, let's say you go to a casino in Vegas. If you're going to win 80% of the time, then you'd want to keep playing over and over again, right? It's the same sort of idea. So if you're doing it 80% of the time, you're doing the right thing, then 20%, if you fall off the bandwagon a little bit, then big deal. And that's actually something that brings up one point. I wasn't going to speak about this, but I will, because it brings it up. I find it really fascinating. There's even people in my groups and in other groups that I see, people are so rigid with how they actually have to live and how they have to eat. And if you come out the back of this program and you're like, okay, 100% of the time I'm going to eat exactly how Mitch has taught us, and I'm going to juice fast, 4 times a year, and I'm going to do that 100% of the time. Well, you're not leaving yourself any room for error, and you're going to be so stressed out that you have to live a certain way, that the actual thoughts and the stress of having to be that way is actually doing more harm than eating probably those foods that you have got a rule against eating. And I say this in a lot of health groups, is like, you can't eat grains because they do this to you. You can't eat potatoes because they do this to you. And I could go on and on about all of the different ones, but who cares? Who cares if you go out to dinner and it's got some quinoa in there, and in one of the most healthy meals on the menu? If you were so in your head about I can't eat that, then you're actually feeding, you're feeding sickness through your mental capabilities. Your mind is so powerful that it can create anything that you want. And I think one of the biggest things that creates like B12 deficiencies, iron deficiencies, and all of those things is because people sit down and read them for half the day and talk themselves into thinking that they've got an iron deficiency or B12 deficiency, that they actually do create it in their life. So, ever since I stopped eating meat, I haven't read one single article about, actually I probably read 1 or 2 about iron deficiencies for vegetarians and vegans, and B12 deficiencies and things like that. And it didn't feel right for me. I was like, it doesn't feel right. I think this is a bunch of crap, because I know in my core that I can get everything I want from plants and from, just eating a variety of different foods. That's what feels right for me anyway. So that's what I do. I've not ever since I got sick and then got myself better by stopping processed foods, alcohol, drugs, meat, dairy, all of those things. Ever since I got rid of that, I've not once been to a doctor to get a test to see what my levels are and all of that stuff, because I don't believe in it anymore. That's where my values have changed. And guess what? I've not once been sick. I've not once felt like I've been depleted of anything. And I know that if I do get an inkling in my body that anything's going to come up, I just fast for 24 hours. It's that simple, and it disappears. So don't be so rigid in how you take on health. Have fun with it, because life's too short not to have fun, right? So I think that's a good place to get started. We're going to be talking about integrating your learnings, and we're going to talk about how you can actually have more fun and certain things that you can do in your life. So this week's probably a little bit more calm and collected, besides that little rant just now, where you probably don't have to take in as many notes and things like that, but more just sit back and think about what comes up for you as we go through each different part, because hopefully it's going to start creating a lot of creativity in your mind, and you're going to start getting excited about the possibilities. And there's possibly things that you couldn't do before that you can actually do now. So stick right through to the end, because there's that's one of the last slides, is like there's a new door that's opened up, and we're going to talk about that. So let's get into it. Share. All right, so everyone should now be looking at the homepage of Integrate Your Learnings, module number 4 of the 28-day fasting kickstart. So let's talk about why. Why should we integrate your learnings? Because change is a big part of being successful, and not just in your health, but in anything at all. And I should point that out. Today's lesson can not just be for health. It can be for absolutely anything. Not only is change good, but it's accelerating at an increasingly rapid pace. You need to keep adapting. It's both a survival skill and a success skill. So if you are integrating your learnings, you won't feel like you're getting left behind. You'll feel more in control than ever. Other things in your life will be easier to embrace. Life will move much faster, and you will handle it efficiently. And you'll feel lighter, happier, and grateful for your life ahead. Be the change that you wish to see in the world. And that's by Gandhi. And I love that quote. And, you know, so many people seek out to change others before they change themselves. And the more that you can just be the change that you want to see in others, the more that they will change, I promise. So what we're going to learn today, we're going to talk about reflection. Then we're going to talk about redesign. Then we're going to talk about switching off, test and trial, passion, and evolution. All right, so let's get into it, guys. It's probably not going to take an hour today either. I think this is more just to help you understand some of the exercises that you can do possibly in your own time to be super creative, to ensure that you continue on a path of happiness and success. So let's talk about reflection. I think it's so important to reflect, especially after doing something like this, even if it's just, you know, a weekend seminar that you do, or a short 3-day juice fast. It's always important to reflect back to see what's actually showed up for you. And because, you know, doing something like this, it creates more space in your life for new things to show up. Because if we're always doing the same things that we used to do, then we get stuck in this place of the same thought patterns. And in fact, you know, over 90% of the thoughts that we had yesterday we'll have today. And if we can do certain things to break those patterns, like learning something new, or getting out, or getting healthy, then we can start to create a little bit more space where new things may show up, and we can reflect back on them. So society is really addicted to a fast-paced environment and a go mentality. And that was especially true over the last couple of decades. If, you know, you look back to some of the movies and seminars that used to go on 5 years ago, they're completely different to what they were now. 5 years ago, it was all about making it happen. You've got to set goals and you've got to make it happen. Whereas now it's more about co-creating and being in a space of being present, being in the now, and you know, allowing things to happen and trusting that they're happening the right way, rather than trying to make it happen. It's not so much of a go mentality anymore. And it's difficult to find the time to sit down and reflect. However, setting aside a small portion of your day for self-reflection can be a lot more helpful than you might expect. So number 1, why is it important? It helps you understand your higher vision and bigger picture for life, and to make sure you are living congruently on that path. I know a lot of people who get into these seminars all of a sudden think that they've got to become a health coach, or that they've got to become a life coach, or they've got to start a business, whereas often that is not congruent with who you are. And that's why you can end up in a place of being really depressed, because that's what you think you have to be, whereas you don't have to be that way. You have to live congruently for who you are. And if you don't take that time to reflect on your own, then that's where you get misled. So that's why reflection is so important. It also allows you to appreciate how far you've already come. because we look at ourselves in the mirror every single day, it's hard to see actually how far you've come in such a short amount of time. And that's especially true if you've ever lost some weight. You know, some people might not see you for 1 or 2 months, and you see yourself in the mirror every day. You see that you're a little bit slim, but you don't see how big of a weight loss difference that has been until you actually see someone who hasn't seen you for 2 months, and they say, wow, look at you. Look how much weight you've lost. And you're like, oh yeah, I've lost a little bit, but no, where in fact you've actually lost a lot. And it's just perspective, because you see yourself every day. Number 3, you no longer need to worry about things out of your control. And I think, you know, the more you reflect back, the more you feel safe. And that's such an important part for so many people, is to feel safe in what they are doing. Because how many times in the past where have you felt a little bit of anxiety or a little bit of tension or a little bit of a fear of the unknown, but it's been perfectly okay. And often it is perfectly okay. In fact, you know, I've told you this before, I held this presupposition that whatever's in front of me, I can handle it. And that gives me so much power, because no matter what circumstance I put myself into, I know that I'm going to handle it, because if I couldn't handle it, I wouldn't be put there, right? So if you look back to all of those times where you felt like you didn't have control, or you didn't have, or you had a bit of a fear there, well, it's 99.9% of the time it turned out all right, didn't it? So if you reflect back on that, then it gives you more power to know that, okay, what's going to happen in the future, I don't need to worry about it. Number 4, it allows you to define what happiness means for you and how you can be in that space more often. And happiness is, you know, happiness is what we all strive for. It's what we want every single day. And, you know, what does that mean for you though? And happiness can mean different things for a lot of different people. And happiness at sometimes can also mean, it doesn't actually mean that you're always getting what you want, but it just means that you're growing as well. And sometimes happiness can mean that you're actually going through some pain. I know for me, if something pushes my buttons now, I'm happy about it, because I know that's something in me that I need to fix, or that I need to look at and love of myself. So happiness for me is actually points of my life where I'm actually put in a space where I'm really uncomfortable, where I'm going through some pain, because that allows me to open up a new part of myself so that I can love myself again. Number 5, self-reflection creates space in your life in order to help you understand what your next step in your own evolution will be. And that, notice how I said what, in order to help you understand what your next step is. You don't need to do something just because someone else is doing it. You don't need to do something just because your friends are doing it, because your kids are doing it, because your aunties, uncles, parents are doing it. You don't need to do anything for anyone except for you. Cool. Pretty simple, right? And those are more points of just to get you thinking about, you know, what are the possibilities out there, and why reflecting is so important. This part you may actually want to write down so that we can so that you can do it later. Maybe a few things will come up for you now. You can write them down quickly as well. So at this point, now that you're reflecting back, you've got some new insights, then you possibly want to start redefining or redesigning what you actually want from your life, because many things are changing rapidly, and what you wanted 12 months ago may no longer be what you want today. So ask yourself, what do I want? And this is possibly something that you can meditate on for tomorrow's meditation, is what do I want? And just notice what comes up. You can write some stuff down if you want to, but just ask yourself that question. And then you can ask, what makes my heart sing? Because there's a difference between what do you want and what makes your heart sing. Because you could get stuck in the question of what do you want. It's possible that you could get stuck in your ego, right? So if you ask what makes my heart sing, then that might open up some new possibilities as well. Now, I'm not saying that there's any wrong answers that come up, but you can sort of get a clearer picture if you ask different questions around the same sort of thing about what you actually want. So what makes my heart sing actually opens up your heart, basically. And that's where you can access possibly a place that you've not accessed before. Because what if, this is just coming to me now. What if when you ask, what do I want? That comes from the mind. Now, I'm not saying the mind is wrong or bad. I think the mind is great. But what if you ask, what makes my heart sing? That comes from the heart. So when the mind and the heart work together, what if that creates exactly who you were supposed to be? And what if you could then begin to embrace all of those things that come from the heart and the mind in order to create something for your life that you actually want? And then you might want to ask, why not now? Because there's going to be a lot of yeah buts. So I want to I want to cook more raw food recipes like what I eat out in the restaurant. And then your mind might go, well, why not now? And you might go, well, I don't have the right blender. I don't have the right cooking materials. Well, these are just all things that are coming up from, excuses, right, as to why you don't. What do you have right now? What can you create right now with the limited resources that you do have? Because I believe that if you're in this position of sitting here watching this, then you've already done a lot of extraordinary things with your life. And the only thing that's holding you back is the old story, the yeah buts. Yeah, but I don't have enough money. Yeah, but I don't have enough time. Yeah, but I don't have enough cooking materials. Yeah, but I don't know how to design an online website. Yeah, but. And this is what's holding you back. So if you can look at, these three questions together, what do I want coming from the mind? What do I want coming from your heart? And what excuses are coming up that are no longer relevant, then you can begin to just start doing those things you can just start doing them. And what you'll find is that as you start creating, living from that creative space, then it will start to open up new possibilities for you as well. So that might be a good exercise for you to do on your own, possibly tomorrow. I think that would be a good exercise for you to do during your meditation tomorrow morning, asking yourself, what do you want? Asking yourself, what makes your heart sing for the 30 minutes, and just allowing your brain to run wild with all the different possibilities. And then as you come out of that meditation, you could write it down on a piece of paper, and then ask yourself, why not now? So then ask yourself, why not now after the meditation, to see if those excuses that you had once before, if they still come up, because you might find that they actually were excuses and that you were just doing it to hide who you really are and to hide how infinite you are in your creativity. And let me know how it goes, because I'd be really interested to see what comes up after you've been treating yourself so well for these last few weeks. I think you'll have some great new perspectives. All right, and then let's move on to switching off. Well, what do you mean by a switch off, Mitch? This will be something that you'll probably never hear from any other health coach ever. But let's see. All right, so I have a challenge for you. For the next 7 to 14 days, I don't want you to do any more health programs. I don't want you to read any more emails, especially from me. And it may even be time to unsubscribe from some email lists. I used to be that type of person who would be subscribed to a bunch of different email lists, and mostly with like business stuff when I started getting into business, and then health stuff when I was trying to get healthy. And I was always blinded by the brand new shiny object, right? And I had to buy that new program. I had to buy that new supplement. I had to buy that new thing. And it was exhausting because I'd start one thing and I'd never finish it. And, I'd buy, there's even certain programs I'd spend, I remember spending $7,000 on one program one time. I didn't even open it. I couldn't get my money back afterwards. But, being on so many people's email lists and always searching for something new, you're always going to find something new. And there's a lot of people out there that are great with their copywriting and stuff that are always going to get you to buy new things, and that can become really blinding. And I know, I just gave this advice to my mum not too long ago, because she was one of these people who was always continuing to buy new things and start something and not finish it. And she worked herself into a pretty bad place. Now I said, here's what I did. For 6 months, I stopped reading emails. I deleted, there was one person in the online business thing that I stayed on because I resonated with his message. And there was one person in the health industry that I stayed on because I resonated with their message as well. Everyone else, I unsubscribed from their email lists, and my life just became so light. I didn't have so much heaviness anymore. I didn't have people trying to sell me stuff all the time. I didn't have, you know, a new thing that I had to try all the time. And my life just, you know, I started to look within rather than look without. And it was so powerful. So, you know, I would prefer if you didn't unsubscribe from my email list, but if I've served you and you've got everything that you need from me, then that's great. I don't want to create a lifetime of people who are trying to get healthy for the next 5 years. I would rather get people healthy in 28 days and they no longer need nothing from me or anyone else ever again. Now, of course, you know, I'd love for all of you to stay around and, you know, help contribute to the group and to everyone else, and, you know, possibly join us at some retreats to take it to a deeper level. But, you know, I'm completely unattached to if people want to leave, because, you know, I try to live my place from this place of abundance. And at the end, my entire goal is to help you get healthy. And whether you do that in 28 days, 280 days, or 2,800 days, I don't mind. So no documentaries, no reading new articles, books, or blogs. The whole point of this is so that you can look within. That's all. You know, this is the secret. This is a secret that no one else will tell you, is you look within. Stop looking for all the answers through someone else. So for the next 7 days, I'm not even going to send you an email for this 28-day program. I will send you an email on day 28. That is it. So whatever day we're up to now, I think from day 22 right to day 27, you're not going to hear from me because I don't want you reading emails. On day 28, I'll send you an email saying, yay, we did it. And I'll possibly even try and make a little video, maybe. But for the next at least 7 days, give yourself this time. I find this so important. It's possibly one of the most important things you could do. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to discover your own programs. I want you to be the author of your own life. I want you to create your own movie that you want to watch. I want you to be the creator of your own life. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to actually create those things, but you could actually live those things in your mind. Who do you want to be? What do you want to create? If you look back at your life, would you want to actually watch that movie? Have you had a lot of fun, or have you just been sitting in front of a computer all the time learning about stuff that you don't even put into place? So in saying that, that works well into our next subject or topic or whatever. All right, test and trial. Variety is the spice of life, right? To feed your creativity, you have to step out and try new things. You have to satisfy your thirst for something different, and then you can reap the rewards. So you might want to trial some different intermittent fasting methods. So we're focused on the 16/8 method for the last little while. And I've actually done that for 99% of the time since I've actually learned about it. But I do like to test different things. And you could try the 5-2 diet. And you know what, if I was you, I did like the 6-1 diet. I don't know. I don't even know it's a thing, but it was awesome. Whereas for a long time, I did 16/8 intermittent fasting every single day for 6 days of the week. And then one day of the week, I just drank juices for the entire day. So, so I did, like, I guess I was doing maybe a 40-hour fast 1 day a week where I just drink juices, and some incredible things happened to my body then. That's when I probably had the most healing happen, became incredibly intuitive in that time. And that's probably where I fixed my gut issues as well, to be honest. So you might want to eat, you know, keep doing this intermittent fasting for 6 days a week, and then juice fast for 1 day a week. And that just gives your body a rest each week to, you know, reset and all of those things. Or you might want to try eat, stop, eat, which is actually probably basically what I just told you. You might want to try the 20/4 method. So that's where you would fast for 20 hours and then just eat for 4 hours. Or possibly you could go all out and do the 23/1 method. So that's where you'll fast for 23 hours of the day and then just eat one meal across 1 hour. And if you look into Dr. Noon Amun Ra, he lives a very much of a monk type of lifestyle where he doesn't like to be live a hugely active life. But Marcus Rothkoens did a great interview with him where he follows the 23/1 method, and he eats a lot of rice and beans and bread with crushed up nuts and stuff like that. And he just eats 1 hour a day, and he's one of the strongest men in the world. He in fact held a world record for weightlifting, powerlifting. And he's ripped, his muscles are incredibly huge. And he does all of those things, and he just has this magical elixir, he calls it, which gets all of his vital nutrients. And I find the stuff he does incredibly fascinating because it goes against everything that we've ever been told in terms of building muscle and staying lean. So as you try these things, then you may actually find something that works better for you than actually the 16/8 method, because like I keep saying, you need to follow what works for you, right? And even if you find that the 20/4 method where you just eat 4 hours a day works better for you, then that's perfectly fine. Okay. Cool. And then you might want to, in future, look at trialing some different extended fasting methods as well. A Kabbalah juice fast. So that's the one that Don Tolman is well known for, is the carrot, apple, beet, apple, lemon, apple, 3 different colored apples. I love doing a Kabbalah juice fast. It's probably my favorite fast to do. And I definitely feel cleansed on such a deep level when I actually do a fast like that. So you might want to do that. You might want to try a coconut fast that Jenny Madison talked about in the Fasting Summit. You might want to go back and review her talk to see what exactly how to do it. And if you're not a member, then you just grab a membership and you can go in and do that. If you are a member, then just log into your website, and in the Fasting Summit section, you'll actually find that talk. And there's a few other ones from past summits where I've talked with Tyler Tolman about fasting as well. And then we've actually got the Fasting Summit coming up again in October, so you can just stick out for that if you want. Or you can join us at a retreat. Something that I don't know if anyone else is doing is juicing the Rainbow Bridge. We're doing that in a retreat next year. It's going to be super exclusive for 6 to 8 people, and I think some incredible things are going to happen for that. And juicing the Rainbow Bridge is where you go red one day, orange the next day, yellow the next day, green the next day, and then blue, indigo, violet at the end. And that's a process of waking up the cells on a complete new level than you've ever done before. What is a coconut fast? You can learn that from Jenny Madison in the members area. We haven't got time to go into it today. Passion. Passion is such an important one. If you don't have that passion for life, then it doesn't matter how you feed your body, you're still going to be lacking. So let's talk about passion. What keeps you up at night? I can lie in bed and just think about stuff for ages because I have so many things that I love in my life. And it wasn't always that way. I used to dread going to bed because I'd have to wake up the next day and go to a job that I hated. But now I'm so content with what I do, and it's because my rules are no longer what they used to be, but because I have so many things, I'm creating something every day. Like this afternoon, I'm just going to sit down and write a book for the entire afternoon. I'm always creating new images and stuff for the website. I'm creating new programs, coming up with new ideas for the retreats, all of these different things. What keeps you up at night? Whatever's keeping you up, as long as it's not anxiety or stuff like that. But the things that excite you and you get too excited, it's like the things that, like when you were a little kid before Christmas and you knew Santa was coming the next day. You're so excited. What builds excitement like that in your life? Who do you want to co-create with? I love this question. I was so impressed with myself when I came up with it. who do you want to co-create with? I know for me, I used to always want to do things myself. And that's why I didn't get anywhere for 2 or 3 years when I was trying to build a business. It's because I wanted to do things myself. When I started looking at who can I co-create with, and I started interviewing all of these incredible people from around the world, that's when my life, not only my business started to change, but I had the best insights of my life and created some amazing relationships with people that I can email at any time and say, hey, let's have a chat, and they'd be up for it. So who do you want to co-create with? What people in your life do you have right now who you can co-create with? What people do you want to meet who you want to co-create with? Where can you find those people? I think co-creation is the future, and connection. No longer, if you're doing it by yourself, I think time's limited. So it's all about co-creation and connection. And then what legacy do you want to leave? I think, we're living in this time where we have so many options and so many different things that we can do and create in our life, and it's going to affect generations to come in either a positive way or a negative way. And, if you, and when I say a legacy, it may not mean that you have to build a business or anything like that. It may just mean that you have some incredible wisdom from your family tree or in your ancestors that you want to pass down to your kids. I think some of the greatest wisdom has been lost because nobody tells stories anymore. I know for me, it's only been in the last 6 months where I've actually wanted to speak with my grandparents on a new level to find out what they did when they were kids and some of the stories that they had to tell, because that got lost in the last generation. My mum and dad and aunties and uncles never allowed my grandparents to speak about those things. And if they did, they'd shut them down really fast. And I find that really upsetting, because that's how I looked at my life for a long time as well. It was like, grandparents are getting old and they're just rambling on about the good old days. But there's a lot of wisdom that has been lost in many generations. And imagine if we knew, perfect example is, imagine if we knew the legacy of the ancient wisdom of how the pyramids were built. Nobody's got any idea how they were built. There's a lot of speculation and conspiracy theories and all of that type of stuff. But when it comes to it, nobody's got any idea how that was built. Imagine if that was passed down through storytelling over time. What an incredible gift that would be. What incredible gifts do you have right now in your life that you can pass down to your kids and grandkids? You might say, well, I don't have any. Well, I would challenge that. I think everyone's got a gift. And the more that you continue on this path of being consciously awake to how you're living, the more that those gifts will show up in your life. So you might want to write those down and just ponder on them. What keeps you up at night? Who do you want to co-create with? What legacy do you want to leave? And take some action today and do something to get this moving forward today. And then evolution, guys. This is the last part of today. And I think evolution is such an important part of, continuing to enjoy the life that you live. And as Tony Robbins has said, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I totally believe that. And there'll be different times in your life where different parts are growing. And, you've been working on your health for the last 21 to 28 days. Well, what needs to have some attention now? Because it's possible you might have neglected some other parts of your life, and you may need to grow them now. It doesn't mean that you have to keep growing the same part of your life all of the time, but you can move into different parts of your life. So maybe you want to get more active and do some extreme sports. I know I get a huge thrill about putting my life on the line sometimes. I've jumped out of a plane twice, I've bungee jumped, done all of these amazing things. And those are things that help me evolve into being someone who likes to live on the edge, likes to be spontaneous, likes to, push my comfort zone, because that's where a lot of incredible things happen, right on the edge of your comfort zone. Maybe for you, evolution is getting in the kitchen and cooking, making some raw foods and doing something new. maybe you've never cooked before. I actually started cooking for basically the first time last year, and I loved it. Because I live by myself, and I don't really cook that much anymore at the moment. But when I'm living with like some housemates for a little while, then I'll cook on a Sundays for everyone, and I love that. I love being able to express my creativity in that way, because I'd never done that before, and it was cool. Travel. I think travel is one of the greatest gifts that you can have in life. And there's this quote that says, the only thing that will make you richer, the only thing that you can spend your money on that will make you richer is travel. And I truly believe that. To give you a story about my own life, I remember when I was 19 years old, I bought my first home, and I was in this place I was so, I guess, brainwashed. It's probably a heavy word, but I was brainwashed into thinking that, from my parents and from the people around me, that if I was going to be successful in life, then I had to get a high-paying job, and then I had to buy a house and just keep paying off that house, and then possibly buy an investment house and all of those things. So when I was 19, I had that good job. I had a lot of money in the bank, so I bought a house. And I had a girlfriend at the time, and I remember she was like, we're talking one night, and she was like, I think I want to go live in London for a year, and do that whole thing where I go be an expat in London and, experience that big city life. And I was like, I've been to Thailand once, and that's my overseas trip. I don't think I'll ever travel again, because I want to pay off my house. I want to renovate my house and make it, higher in value and all of those things. Well, little did I know that a few months later, when we broke up, things were tough, and I was given the opportunity to go spend 6 weeks in Europe, including London, with some friends who were living there. And because I was in such a place of hurt that I just wanted to get out of there and do something new, I booked it, and I did 6 weeks through Europe, and that was the biggest and best gift of my life at that point in time. That opened my eyes up to a whole new world, and it realized how insignificant my life was going to be if I just stayed in the one town for the rest of my life, in the one home, just paying bills in order to try and be quote unquote successful. Travel was the greatest gift of my life, and I probably wouldn't be here without it. At the moment, I'm living in the 4th city in 4 years, something like that. And it's been amazing. I've met some incredible people along the way. All right, next. Maybe your evolution is teaching. Maybe your evolution is going to spend time with, those who are less fortunate than what you are, and helping them learn, or helping, build new villages and things like that. Or maybe, your evolution is getting out there and dating again. Maybe it's time for you to go up to that person that you've been eyeing off for a few weeks and saying hello, putting your heart on the line to see where it takes you. And that's what all of these are about. All of these are about just putting your heart out there, putting your heart on the line, and not worrying about what happens on the other side of it, because it's all meant to be exactly how it goes. It's all perfect how it is. So what's evolution for you? And I love this. I only come across this the other day, and I forget the name of the person who came this across. It was on a TED Talk, because I don't want to say that I came up with this. I didn't. But I have adjusted it slightly. So there used to be 2 doors in your life, one that was open and one that was closed, if you look on the left. And it used to be things that you used to be able to do and you still can do. So that door is still open, right? You can still do those things. There was also things that you couldn't do before and you still can't now. And that's fine. There's going to be a lot of those things. And that's just due to, certain circumstances, certain places of where you live. Like if you live in somewhere that is freezing cold and snowing for 11 months of the year, then you probably don't want to be a raw vegan, right? You probably want to get some warm foods into your life. And then there were things that you used to do. So this is like new territory, and those 2 doors on the right. There's things that you used to do and you can't do, or you don't want to do now. So some of those things might be things like going out for breakfast with people who complain all the time. Some of those things might be going to a a personal trainer who hasn't got you any results for the last 12 months. And you just don't want to do it anymore. So you start to have this confidence within yourself after this last 21 days where you can close the door on those people and those things in your life. And when you close that door, it creates space for new things. It opens up a new door of things that you couldn't do before, but you can now. And that might be certain things like maybe you couldn't go to the gym before because you were so insecure about who you were, but now you can. And that's when, and now you can go there with confidence. Another thing might be you had a lot of anxiety in your life about moving to a brand new city, and you couldn't do that before, but now you can, because after this last 21 days, you've been able to open yourself up to having that confidence within yourself and knowing that everything and trusting that everything's going to be okay. So there's a lot of different doors that are possibly opened up in your life and closed in your life. So what are those doors for you? What doors do you want to close on certain circumstances or people or things or jobs? What doors do you want to close in your life? And when you do, what do you think is going to open up? Because this is what you're used to. Those two doors on the left are what you're used to, and that's life as normal. Those continue to go on. That third door, it's time to let those things go. It's time to shut the door and let it go and not need to actually be in that space anymore. And then go for it. That door that is now open, that was never once open before, it's time to go for it. It's your time. It's your time to put your heart on the line and to step forward and just take that little step every single day. It's all about little tiny steps each and every day, and that's going to produce, the biggest results in your life. Exponential growth is the most powerful thing in the world. And Carol says, sent through a Rumi quote, "Don't grieve. Anything you lose comes round in another form." Absolutely. I often say, as you go on this journey, you possibly lose some friends out of your life, but it's just creating space for your tribe. And that's where true friendship lies. And then the wheel of life. This is something that you guys might want to look at doing another time, just to create that balance in your life, because at the moment your health could be right up the top here, like right up, 8 or 9 at the top. Your health's going to be really good now. But what about, at the other end, what about your relationships? Who have you neglected over the last 3 weeks? Who have found it a little bit tough to be around while you're doing all of this stuff? What can you do to help them understand that you still love them and that you still want their relationship in your life? And then just going around that and just rating yourself and just seeing what needs to be picked up a little bit. Maybe it's your wealth or your career. Maybe you need to have some more fun. I know for me, I'm constantly down on the lower end of the playtime, hobbies and fun. But in saying that, I find that doing this is so much more fun than, most things that I do outside, So it's a balance of what does fun mean for you as well. And then personal space, hopefully by now you are taking on board a lot of personal space, especially getting off some emails and all of those things. And then contribution and spirituality, whatever that means for you. Just going through. So basically, I don't think I've really explained this properly yet. So you draw this wheel and you would label all of those different pinpoints and then see how it's got those little lines that go along the bigger lines. You just want to rate yourself. So imagine 1 is right in nice and close to the middle of the circle, and then 10 is the very outside of the circle. So 1 being not very good, 10 being really good. You just go through and rate your health, your wealth, your family and friends, your playtime, your relationships, your career, your personal space, and your spirituality. Rate that from 1 to 10. So your health right now is probably about an 8 to 10. So you'd put a little dot there. And then you go to your wealth. Maybe you're doing really good, so you'd rate it a 7, or maybe you're not doing so good, so you'd rate it a 2. And then family and friends, rating that, and then you just want to connect the dots. Now, ideally, you want to try and create a nice little round circle like the outside circle there, but usually that's not going to happen. And then you just want to look at areas that are the biggest room for improvement, and maybe you want to start there. And for many people, it would be wealth. You know, it definitely is for me as well. And as you continue to work on that, then and you continue to get more in alignment, you create this better place, this better circle, this better rounded circle, and a rounded life, basically, where you have, you know, equal experiences in all parts of your life. And, you know, I don't believe that you can get a perfect 10 in all parts of these. I think as you improve one thing, others will slip. But it's all, you know, it's like just trying to spin a plate on a stick, right? You've got to spin, you know, go back and forth to different ones all the time and keep building them up together. But what you'll notice is that you can take the principles and the learnings and the basic meaning behind a lot of these things that you've learned over the past 21 days and apply that to different areas of your life. And that is the beauty when you truly understand yourself and the principles that work for you, then you can apply that to any part of your life. And that's when things are going to change. Whew, look at that. Less than an hour today, guys. We are on fire. And thank you for being here. Make sure you send through any questions. I just want to invite you to the retreats, because this is basically where the next part of your growth can happen. And these retreats often fulfill you on all of those levels, on a lot of those levels that we're just talking about in the Wheel of Life there, where you get to meet new people who are like-minded. I think, you know, some of the, you know, I just paid $20,000 to $30,000 for a retreat in 2013, possibly. And some of my best friends have come from that time. You know, one of my friends from that retreat, he's actually going to be publishing my book that I'm reading. Another friend from that retreat, I spent 6 months in Thailand with, just a couple of years. And not only that, but then they've put me onto some, you know, through meeting new connections, through friends of friends from that retreat, then they've become some of my best friends in life. Like one of my mates who I met from a friend of a friend from a retreat I lived with in Sydney for a few months. And he actually just messaged me this morning. Now he's living in Canada, and he asked me to come to Canada next year for a little while. And, you know, the people that you meet during these programs are the biggest thing that you can take away from it. And, you know, the health that you get from this would just be secondary to the people that you meet and getting to know yourself. So if you are interested, then head across to fastwaytohealth.com/retreats and join us, because it'll be super fun. So Kat says, you are so on your path. Your teachings are right on and so beautiful to construct a happy life and healthy life. Thank you, Kat. I really appreciate that. I really do. And thank you for being here. Can you please repeat the best way to break a fast? Raw for a couple of days, specific foods to have or avoid? Yeah, sure. So, I mean, what do you feel like? What's your body telling you? For me, in summertime, I usually go for like mangoes. So it's actually, I was thinking about this the other day. It's this really weird thing the night before breaking a fast. It's like, okay, I know I'm ready to break a fast tomorrow. And then you wake up the next day and you're like, so in this pattern of just grabbing a juice that you're breaking a fast with a juice. And I was thinking about this. It's like so weird that even though I'm ready to break a fast, I just want to have a juice, because that's what I break my fast with every single day. So when you decide that it is time to break the fast, if you want to have a juice in the morning, that's cool as well. It's just this weird thing that happens in my mind, or at least it does for me. I don't know if it will for you, but I would first of all, find out what's going to nourish you on all levels. So for me, it was a mango this time. So I ate a mango, I sniffed it, I really connected with it, and it was incredibly satisfying. So I had that, and then I waited probably an hour, and I was like, I want to eat another mango. So in an hour's time, I'd have another mango. And for the first day, I'd pretty much stick to those really water-based fruits, so like mangoes and watermelon and things like that, avocados. Things like apples probably, I mean, they're probably okay, but for me, they just seemed like they took too much chewing and that type of stuff. So things that were really easy to chew for me on that first day, that's sort of what I'd stick to for the entire day. And sometimes, I'd have a smoothie as well. Smoothies can be tough for the digestive system, so you just want to drink it slowly and maybe stretch it out over 30 minutes for a full smoothie, just to give your body time to wake up and things like that. The second day, I'd usually have like an entire smoothie day. So my favorite for a while was avocado, banana, and honey. I did that for an entire day after a fast once, and I thought it was amazing. I had maybe 3-4 smoothies that day. And then the next day, it was possibly I ate a lot of fruit again, and possibly that's when I start to introduce some salads, so things that are a little bit harder to digest. Still continuing with smoothies at that point. And then maybe day 3 or 4 at nighttime, if it's winter time especially, then I'll have some cooked foods. So usually for me after a fast, I find that potatoes work really well for me. I don't know why, I just love potatoes, especially sweet potato after a fast, because that's a bit easier to digest. So I would do those type of things. So it depends. I think, if you're in summer right now, then you probably want to stick with raw food for a little while. If it's winter, then how many, then maybe you want to get to cooked food after 2 days or something. It's up to you. But yeah, just go for easily digestible foods, even soups and stuff if it's winter. Like a dal or a curry that doesn't have large chunks of vegetables and stuff in it, that'd be a good choice. Making some homemade hummus, incredible. Guacamole, things like that. Cool. No more questions. Indian food. Kalpi, I eat Indian food almost every night. I absolutely love Indian food. It's my favorite. You're just in South Perth, across the river from me. Cool. So guys, thanks again. Thank you for joining me. As I said, there'll be no emails from day 22 to 27, but on day 28, I'll send you an email. And so I encourage you to take that time off this week, really connect in, really be with yourself, reflect, do some of those exercises we just talked about, because this is where a lot of your biggest realizations can come from. And you may sit back and think that, a lot of these people, well, this person in the group had this realization. Why didn't I have that realization? Well, if you let go of having an expectation of a breakthrough or a realization, then it'll probably come through. But if you can reflect back on certain things that came up for you over the last 3 weeks, then it's possible you'll reach new territory. And you'll process things on a different level. And that's where a lot of great insights can come. I know for me, especially on the water fast, I didn't get any of the greater insights until week 2, week 3 of reflecting back on how I actually did. And, and what you may find as well now is that you've lightened your body. You've made, room for a lot of new things in your life, and the creativity in your life may start to flow. For the start of 2017 for us as Fast Way to Health, and for me and Sam, was incredible. We had so much creativity, so much coming up. Like, these retreats that I'm inviting you to at the moment, we have people booked in and paid in full within days. That if you're coming to join us if you're looking to join us on the 10-day water immersion retreat, you better act fast, because those places are filling up before we've even really advertised it properly just yet. And all of these things will start to happen for you as well, if you allow that space in your life and reflect and allow that time. So, so thank you. I love each and every one of you. I truly do. You're very much, you know, special people for being here and investing in yourself. And the world needs more of you. You know, just you being here and meditating for 30 minutes a day and juice fasting, you know, every season, you're going to create a ripple effect throughout your world more than you could ever know. And that doesn't mean that you have to go out and tell everybody about it, because, you know, people, if you tell people about it, they don't want to know. But if you just keep being you and doing what you're doing right now, so many incredible things are going to come into your life. I promise you that. And if you can just trust the process and trust that everything is happening and unfolding exactly how it's supposed to, then it's just going to get better and better for you. So, you know, love to each and every one of you. Enjoy the next week with no distractions from me or anybody. And if you do need that support, reach out in the group. I know many people will be willing to help. And if you have gone through some things that other people are going through, then just lend a hand as well. So enjoy your day ahead. Enjoy the life ahead. Make sure you stay in touch with me a lot and let me know how you're going. I love to hear from you. And what I would really love, I would love this so much, if you could possibly leave a testimonial, leave some thoughts about how this program has helped you. What are some of the biggest realizations? You can write it on my Facebook wall. You can email it to me. I'd love to share it with some people over the next little while. So thank you to each and every one of you. Have a great day ahead, and we'll talk again real soon.